I had to wash up after walking my dog, give him a little haircut. Yeah, and that's kind of clean things up around here too. It is a holiday day today. It is a day to respect the aged. Respect for the aged day. That's what it says. So for those of you who can admit that you are aged, I guess that includes myself. Um, then let's respect ourselves. I hope you guys have some self-respect. It's really important. People have told me that I don't always have enough respect for myself, considering some of the things that I do, which is unfortunate, but I'll try harder. All right, guys. So it is Peter from MNN. It is a Monday night, 10:30. I had the day off. Hey, what's going on, Mike? How are you? I had the day off. Hi, Suho. Do you want to come up here? Do you want to come up? There we go. Yeah, look, say hi. Suho, say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Right here. Say hi. Okay, that says hi. Good boy. Popo. All right. Popo means kiss in Korean, and we'll get to some Korean stuff soon too. All right. My goodness, it has been a pretty wild week for any number of reasons. All around the world, as well as in Japan. Um, yeah, I really don't know what to say. It's just sometimes when things happen, you know? Just like right now, my right click is not working on my computer. All right, I think it's working. We'll see how that is. Okay. Um, yeah, so it has been a pretty long week. A lot of stuff has gone down. Life adjusting. Thank you for asking me personally. It's been all right. I finished my second week last week. I'm on my third this coming week. What's going on, Eddie? I am on my third this coming week, and it's kind of cool. I can grab a little bit more skin off of my foot, which is a good thing. I can see more veins, more tendons. The nerves still kind of are a bit wonky close to where the incisions were made. Um, Even as I do that now, as I talk to you, it just kind of like there's just like electric shock. Portugal. Um, Darn it. I forgot stuff in Portuguese. Hi. In Portugal. What are you doing there, Eric? Why are you over there? Is there a show going on? Okay. Um, so there's a lot of stuff. And I don't want to inundate you. We don't have all the time. And it's a little bit different when I'm just kind of chatting, even though you guys are there, chatting by myself. So I do want to break down some of the main stuff. Here to drink and eat too much. That sounds like you could do that anywhere, but I'm sure Portugal would be a fantastic place. Um, yeah. So if you did take a look at the thumbnail, it was the posters, which I think I'll have a few saved for me by Laura. I'm not quite sure what ethnicity she is. I do believe she is Caucasian American. Hey, what's going on, Chris? Long time. Um, but yeah, it seems like she was in charge or had a big hand in kind of putting the show together. So if you recall from last week, for those who are watching, she got together Mad Jamie, Mellows, Dimray, Slothred, Gangire, and Nocturnal Bloodlust. I don't know if many people have heard of Nocturnal Bloodlust, but they definitely have a following. Their views on YouTube are like in the hundreds of thousands, which, relatively speaking, is fairly big, I think, for this scene. So they were sort of the big band of the night. I couldn't attend. This was this past Saturday at Shinjuku Antinoch. But yeah, I can only imagine it was a fantastic show. I do believe Chris, I was scrolling through Twitter and I think you did watch it, right? So I'm sure it was fantastic. Hey, what's going on? Englishman in Belfast, Korean American in Tokyo. Have the best seafood I've ever had. Uh yeah, I'm still tempted. I don't know. I've been kind of kind of staying away a little bit. Oh, okay, that's cool. I'm glad people watched it. It was definitely, I'm sure it was worth it. Um, this sounds, what does it sound like? Does it sound arrogant? I don't know what it sounds like, but I think because I've been to so many live shows and I've seen these bands, quite a few of them live in person. I feel like watching them on a live stream won't quite do it for me, even though I do promote it and I'm excited for it. I know it's going to be an awesome show. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't know. Does that sound bad? Although to be fair, I did end up watching all the Bandmade, live streams that they put on during COVID, but that was a different period. It was a different time. So I may end up ordering the archive. It's until the 20th. So for those of you who are still interested in watching that show, oh, thanks, Eric. I'm sure it'll be a fantastic show. So definitely worth checking out. Um, that was one of a few of like quite a few. And interestingly enough, one specific band, Dim Rays, who I've seen multiple times. This weekend was insane, including today. They actually had two shows back to back, Saturday afternoon, morning, and then in the evening, because they also performed at Antioch earlier in the day, and then the one for J Rock News, which for their 10-year anniversary. By the way, J Rock News, happy 10 years. It is awesome that a publication like this is dedicated to Japanese music and that they are helping to put um, basically these bands out there for the world to see and to really learn about. It's an important thing. Um, then they had a show yesterday. This show yesterday was a show that isn't too far. It's about 15 minutes. I did end up checking Google Maps, and what was really unfortunate was that it said right away like steep hills, and that's probably the least positive thing or good thing for me right now when I bike. Even though I'm biking with that huge platform shoe that you guys may have seen or not seen. When I'm home, I kind of try to tread lightly without it, just kind of get a little bit adjusted. But anyhow, so I did end up not going, but it was a three-man show, amazing because it was Launcher Number Eight, Dim Rays, and Lumerize. And these three bands, they're three of I think some of the most kinetic bands out there. They're incredibly like charged. You definitely feel the electricity, and they have like super fans, who are very dedicated to these bands for a very good reason. I mean, incredible front women, incredible musicians behind them, great music, great songs, and they just put on a wild show. Like it's wild and it's a party. And I think, yeah, exactly. There are bands that you watch and you enjoy and you take in their musicianship, the technicality, their virtuosity, all of these things. And then there are bands that you just get down with. And these three bands you definitely get down with. I'm not going to say, like, technically speaking, they're like way above and beyond some of the other bands that are well known in Japan. Um, but I will say, when it comes to just putting on an incredible live show, they're up there. They're up there higher than some of the more technical and proficient bands. And I think it's kind of like when you are, not that I've ever played Dungeons and Dragons, but I know there's like cards, like the wizards, there's like the fighter, the melee guy, there's the archer, that sense of you have to give up things to get things. You have some of this and you don't have some of that. And I think that's kind of the case, is that very rarely will a band be like top tier in every respect, S tier, as they say, right? Very few have like everything, everything. I think one of the few, which is why I was always such a huge fan, is Bandmate. Like they pretty much run the gamut. They cover everything like pretty well. Probably one of the most well-rounded bands in terms of like quality all the way around. Um, but with these bands, yeah, like they do something special. And if you see them live, not even just a live stream, but you see them live, you'll understand better. Oh yeah, so Dimray is going back to that. So I mean, these bands too. Launch Number Eight also had a show today, which they did with Dimrays again, and then Lumerize had an so yesterday's show, then the day before. I don't think today. So it was pretty wild. A lot of shows, and just FYI, right now, I've mentioned her before, Arisa. Um, Arisa, who is the new guitarist for the band The Frail, is a massive, more than I'm discovering more and more, but she is a massive Bandmate fan. And I think she's growing to become an even bigger one. Um, this is kind of off topic, but like on her Instagram story just yesterday, she posted a duel between Misa and Kanami. I think, which one was it? I think it was Don't You Tell. Yeah, I think it was Don't You Tell Me. So if you do follow her, it's just Alisa, Alisa. She's with the Frail, but she was just like, oh my gosh, a bass solo, like a bass solo. So she also mentioned earlier this week that she was debating whether to get the CD, the new EP, Scoop. And I was just like, dude, if because she doesn't get CDs, maybe it's because she can't afford it. I don't know what, but I have extras which I want to give her just because I'm discovering what a fan she is, and then also to get her the Scoop EP. I ordered two, and I told her I'll give her one. Yeah, just because I don't know when you see, she's one of a few of the newer generation of female guitarists who have been inspired by Konami. Whether it's her, there's another Kotaro, not Kotono. Yes, I will get to that. Yeah, I'll definitely get to that. Uh, so her, Arisa, this girl May, um, who else? Well, Natsu of Neki. Um, gosh, there's quite a few. More than a handful, let's say. Just more than a handful. And because I do have a relationship with the Frail and with Arisa, I would love to help her out, to spur her on for her love for Bandmate, for guitar, and just it's awesome to see the inspiration like overflow that excitement. Um, because you guys know how it is, right? And if anybody has any extra like Bandmate paraphernalia that they would like to pass on to her, I'm more than happy to pass it along as well. Because it's cool. I don't know, I just get very excited about that. Um, Again, with the newer and younger generation. So having said that, also, I was debating for the thumbnail to do this Pulse or to do actually Hades. They did, it's been a yearly thing, if I'm not mistaken. They perform at this place called Jupia, Jupia Camp, and it's some sort of event that involves a gathering of people who have American motorcycles, like Harley Davidsons. And so there's this shot of the girls standing with the Harley. I think it's actually it's probably Hara's, but it's just it fits so perfectly. Something about Hades and motorcycles, diesel, fuel, fire, just leather, studded stuff. It all kind of feels very Hades. So I was debating between those two. So they did also perform as a God, quite a few shows, quite a few bands. And it's impossible to go over everything and not bore you guys because it is so much. Some of you will appreciate it, but I think some will be like, "Oh, okay, we get it." um, I did also want to throw out, because my brain kind of bounces around, I did also want to throw out that next Monday, I don't know how many of you will actually be here in Japan, so it may not even apply. but one of Miku's best friends, Eto-san, she has a band called Kyokue, and it's basically her and a support drummer with backing tracks, including vocals. But they will have a one man this coming Monday. So if you are interested in attending, it's at Shibuya Club Malcolm. She's super cool, super cool. And even though she always looks she looked very serious in photos with Miku and like in the past. But talking to her and seeing her just like talking on Instagram story and stuff, really sweet, really bright, very bubbly, very bubbly. And yes, Hades will have their one man from this past May available on DVD. I don't think Blu-ray, but yeah, DVD. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be nice. I did tell Mayo. I did tell Mayo. It's good stuff. Kyokwe, they've got some good stuff. The vocals, I don't know who the vocalist is. She did mention her name before, but she's great too. I like the simplicity. I like just sort of the loop, the vibe, the electronic quality of it, but also the raw quality. It's good stuff. Um, let's see now. Major things. Because I want to do this sort of like in sections, and there's one particular section, so I'll get to that. Nekomeshi did perform today as well at Tachikawa Hearts. Surge K, which is the band that Mayo and Yuri from Hades play for, as well as support. Are they support now? It kind of feels like they've become a band, to be honest. Outside of Hades, although Hades will always be the main thing. But they performed today as well. And it's cool because they do use photos that I took from their last event, which is really nice. Hagane and Lonesome Blue performed. When was this? What day was this? This was yesterday. So that's kind of cool. Hagane and Lonesome Blue. I did see Lonesome Blue live before. That was when they performed last year with Saki and then also with Brideer. They don't quite work for me. Super talented musicians, but the music itself and the songs didn't quite grab me. But quite energetic. I like Mizuki, the drummer, also for East of Eden, who I'll be mentioning later as well. Mizuki, there's something about the drummers in Japan where the drummers have like the biggest smiles. They're just like the brightest personalities. Um, so whether it's Mayo or it's Akane or it's Mizuki or it's Natsumi from Bright Year, I mean, they're such just bright, like, I don't know, they shine. There was another big show. One of the things, well, the very first sort of festival I went to when I was in Hyogo, which is close to Osaka. So I was going to Osaka a lot for shows. It's called Women's Power. Women's Power is produced by the manager of Paradox, and he's been in the business for like decades. He has close ties with Distros, Aldius, any number of bands, Mary's Blood. But yeah, so at that show, Paradox performed, as did Hades. So Women's Power, if you can make it out to any of the shows that they perform during the year, it's a cool show to check out. I would definitely say you'll discover some great female bands, if that's what you're here for. Another festival that happens quite often and is another big event. Um, the man who produces, they call him Crazy, just Crazy Sun. And yesterday was Crazy Fest, and the bands that played were Sirius, Valhalla, 4XX Error Code, which is a blacklisted. They're one of the newer bands. Daryl, Queen Rabbit, Ms. Red Theater, many. Oh gosh, what was it? Many the Familiar, Soli, and then Nyan Nyan, Nyan Nyan something Gaku something. Can't read the kanji, all of it. Let's see here. Yeah, Kano. Chiho too. Whose birthday it was. Okay, why don't we get to that? There were three fairly big birthdays with, at least in my particular circles. The first was Chiho, who I knew first as a support drummer for Bad Bubble before they became the Frail. Um, and one of the things I recognized right away was that she added a lot of heft and power to the sound of Bad Bubble. And I remember saying specifically, like, wow, this is it's different. Like she's really added a lot. Yes, I believe Misako, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's her name for Queen Rabbit. Um, but yeah, Chiho's birthday was this past week. And then on 9/11, which, we do remember, um, it was actually Osaki Yuki's birthday, the drummer for Little Lilith. Pint-sized. She's not flashy in any way. I wouldn't say she's um, overtly dynamic or large, physically and otherwise. But she does have these beats that kind of stick with you. Like I remember Little Lilith was one of the very first bands. Hey, good morning, Bill. Little Lilith was one of the first bands that I saw along with Risky Melody and with a band called Maze, alt idol group, performing at Club Phase in Takada no Baba. Say that 3 times fast. But I remember just her drum beats, even before I saw her and discovered that she's also a Gravity model. I was blown away. Like the beats really stood out. So she's not the fanciest or the most technical, but she does things that are very memorable. And I think that's what counts and matters more in a song, to be honest. So it was her birthday. And then today, Kotomi of Lumerize, who I've mentioned in previous live streams, online. Fabulous, fabulous front woman for Lumerize. Incredible. Oh, was it? Oh, why didn't I see that? That's really strange. I feel like I would have seen. Okay, I'll have to reach out to him. My bad. Um, but yeah, Lumerize Kotomi, she's a fabulous front woman. She is smiling like a billion watts, just out to the crowd and having just the best time of her life and just enjoying herself and is willing to just throw herself out to the crowd, like literally, and figuratively. So a happy birthday to her as well. So those are three of the big birthdays. Um, okay. It sounds like him. uh, man. Yeah, so that was that. Today actually, and then the day after, Natsumi of Brideer is doing 2 shows today and tomorrow with her Rainbow tribute band. So that's cool. It's fun watching her play and the style being so different. But she does a fantastic job. Let's see. There were other shows, I'm sure. Okay, let's get to this one and then we'll get into the next section. Would you say it's a big show? It wasn't a big show, but it was definitely a show that will make an impact. Let's see. It was this past Friday, I believe. Yeah, it was Friday at Shibuya Cyclone, one of my favorite venues, and one of the more popular ones that you'll most likely go to if you come to Japan and you want to see some of the more popular indie bands. It's kind of funny to within the indie circle, which is fairly small compared to mainstream, Japanese rock and just music in general, you kind of have the bigger indie bands within the indie scene. But Shibuya Cyclone does host quite a few of them. And this past Friday, it was a Mana Diagram one-man live. Mana Diagram was a band that formed together from Meito and from Uyu, formerly of Hagane. Uyu being the vocalist, who also performs with Dizzy Metal, and now Dizzy Reverse. Um, but Mana Diagram was the two of them, along with three other male performers, three male musicians. Um, one of them being Yusuke, the bassist. And so this past Friday, it was a one man from Mana Diagram, but it was also a graduation. So Meito and Yusuke, the bassist, Meito being a really proficient guitarist. And if you follow old Mr. B, you know what an amazing person she is, because she actually flew to England to meet him because she wanted to see him in person before, you know, he might pass. Um, and so, yeah, I'm sure it's bittersweet, but Meito did say that as she talked about what she wanted and what Monodera wanted, their paths kind of diverged. Um, in terms of what they wanted, and so she felt it was time for her to leave. And I understand that. I think as a musician, sometimes you only go so far with the band that you have, and even if it's a popular band, just within yourself creatively, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't match. It's not what you want. Um, and that was also the case. Oh my goodness, I just thought of another person, and I don't know if you know the band Almond Dot. So it's like almond and dot, but only one D. So almond dot. They were kind of getting some coverage. They were getting some ground with their music, but she just kind of all of a sudden left. And there is a digest. There's quite a few of her songs um, recorded by Tima Thrash. And when I was watching that performance, I was like, okay, I get it. She is much more of a singer-songwriter, and it's very different, genre-wise, from Almond Dot. So her name is Yuna Anjo, or Anjo Yuna, however you want to pronounce it. So that's Anjou. It's her last name, and then Yuna, Yuna. But yeah, if you do like and appreciate more of a singer-songwriter style, it is still rock. There's pop. There's also acoustic. You'll definitely appreciate, I think, her music. So I would recommend her just right now. So yeah, Anjo Yuna, Anjouyuna. You can go ahead and check her out. But she left. And then with Meito, I reached out to her because I had spoken to her really only one time, but it was quite long, and it was really cool. Like I loved the conversation that we had, and she was so sweet to me. So, and just to further on just how cool she is, I wrote her a message on Instagram, on her message, and I said, "Congratulations on graduating from On a Diagram. I'll keep supporting you and your work." And then she hearted it, messaged back and said, "Thank you so much, Peter-san." Doesn't seem like much, but the fact that she's willing to just reach out and reply to me even says a lot about her character and personality, because not many musicians. Yeah, I would love to. I reached out to her once, but I think she was busy. So once my foot is better, I would love to message her and interview her. That'd be great. And it'd be one I think that could be done completely in English because she's so good. But yeah, it's bittersweet as always when people depart, but it happens. Um, Another one, which is kind of, gosh, how do you? It's not the saddest thing, but then it is sad as well. Um, just because, yeah. Well, so Toki of Aldius wrote a message. This was yesterday, the 14th. Yeah, so yesterday. So earlier in August, they performed their final shows as Aldius, along with Reno. which I had the opportunity, the chance to, but because of my foot, I couldn't go see. Still kind of really bummed about that. But she wrote a message saying that she has officially left Aldius. So I don't know exactly what that means because they performed their final shows. But I guess for just future prospect, if by any chance they would happen to do anything else um, as Aldius, maybe come back from retirement or whatever, she's not going to be a part of that. But then again, who knows? Because Reno had left as well, but she was called in for these last shows. So I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go down, what it exactly means. But Toki was just one of my early favorite female guitarists. She reminded me of this one Japanese girl I kind of spent time with when I first came to Japan. That's kind of one of the reasons. But yeah, definitely wishing her well. And I'm sure she'll be fine just living her life, being a wife, a mom, and doing her music. So definitely look forward to that. The saddest, toughest one um, is Kotaro of Doll Parts. And yeah, man, that was a shock. I'm that's it's one of the biggest shocks I've had since I've sort of been like, working and doing stuff in this scene. Um, like Hades and Doll Parts had done their live stream together just a couple of weeks ago, and their show is coming up quite soon, October 3rd. Um, yeah, the three men along with Amai Dantodai. And I don't know. I don't know why it did hit as hard as it did, but I almost cried yesterday when I found out. And I've never felt that way. Like I've been sad, it's unfortunate, but but for some reason this felt personal just because I had interviewed them, one of the earlier bands that I had interviewed towards the end of 2023. Um, I always liked him. He's just such a very sweet, shy, cool guy. Very kind, very considerate. She's just gonna have support drummers for now until they find somebody else. But earlier on they also had a bassist, and then that didn't work out. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Um, Kotaro has been such an integral part of the sound of Doll Parts because his drumming style and his influence, and I'm sure it's because he was a part of Doll Parts and because he had Koji, the composer guitarist for Doll Parts, kind of influence as well as Arisa. And he's quite young compared to them, just early 20s, 23. So his sound was based around a lot of sort of grunge. Um, and so he would listen to a lot of stuff, whether it be Nirvana or Smashing Pumpkins, just that whole 90s, early 2000s scene. So, yes, Toko will be playing, which is great, and I'm very curious how different that will be because they're stylistically so different. Um, Kotaro has a little bit more snap in the way that he performs. Um, there's more dynamic. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm curious. I'm not gonna find out, but I am curious. So he did write a message, did say that he decided to leave, and I reached out to him as well, just because I do have, a relationship with him, and we've, interacted like online and stuff and on Instagram. So he also changed his profile, which I guess you do once you leave a band. So I reached out to him and I said I was really surprised. Um, I said, but the fact that you're gonna still do music and it's your passion, like I'm really glad about that, and I'll still be supporting you. Just whatever you need, if you want anything or if you need anything, just let me know. And it was really sweet because he replied back and he said, "Oh, Peter, I should have let you know beforehand. I'm like, no, I mean, there's really no need to let me know about it. But he said he was really grateful for the interview I did with them and taking photos for them. Um, and so, yeah, he said, let's see, yeah, Dorapatskara, yeah. So leaving dull parts, walking his own path. And yeah, so kore kara mo, from here on, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. So if you would support, and definitely for sure, I'm definitely gonna support him, and I definitely do still want to be a part of his life in whatever way, capacity, shape, form he's willing to allow me to, and if he needs help. And I think it's one of the really cool things about how lucky I am to be here with these people is that it's not just the music, but it's the relationships I have with them. And again, hopefully, because I do love investing in people, and people that I believe in and that I just enjoy being with and I care for. And Kotora is definitely one of them. So, I told him, hey, I mean, just whatever you need, let me know. So I definitely do wish him well. He was a fantastic part of the music scene here, and he definitely was a big part of Dull Parts. I mean, it was really the two of them, right? So, yeah, it's crazy. Definitely that felt out of left field to me. But it's like it's just always so much is just always happening. And even though there's like these shows happening and it feels like that's all that's happening, there's so much happening away from that. Who knows if like all of a sudden somebody from Saiseigo leaves, somebody from Hades leaves, um, some dim rays, no. I can't see Naho and Akane like splitting up. They're such close friends. But like these things, it just happens and you don't realize it. So that was the other thing I wanted to cover and address, was those members leaving. And I definitely wish all of them well. Meito, Yusuke, um, Toki from Aldius, and then Kotaro from Dull Parts. Yeah, it's just, yeah. Okay, so moving on. I mentioned this last time, and I think the previous time as well, but I mentioned it again because another band decided to go out, and I mean, not all of a sudden, but went out this week to Korea, and that was Risky Melody, which I'm really happy about. I'm really glad that they got to go out to Korea. Um, I think I've mentioned, Alice is half Korean. Um, I believe it's her dad, if I remember our conversation correctly. I may have forgotten. Um, but she doesn't speak any Korean really. So it was a completely new experience for her too, trying to like explain things, while she was there. So yeah, they performed 2 days. Um, and again, they're just another group of an increasingly growing stream, um, of bands that are going there. Right before was Paradox. Before that, Nemophila performed. And then in October, East of Eden will be going out there. October or November. I forget exactly. Uh, let's see. But that's great. Even though I won't be going to these shows, it's just exciting. Well, Korean acts have been coming to Japan. Whenever I've seen a billing, like it's not that frequent, but every now and then I'll see Korea next to the band. So they've been doing that, and I'm sure it may have been happening as well. Like vice versa, Japanese bands going out to Korea. But I'd be at least with the bands that I'm familiar with, I've seen them doing that more. It's been increasing. Again, the fact that Nemophila, Paradox, Risky Melody, and then East of Eden now, like these are pretty familiar bands to a lot of Western fans, and that it's almost excessively so. That's kind of a big deal, and it kind of says something. I do think that probably also has to do with the fact, that there is difficulty. This will lead us to the next section soon, but it also has to do with the difficulty of performing in the States at the moment. So, but hey, better for Korea. I'm glad they're getting to experience some like this. It kind of sounds mean to say legit rock and metal because to be honest, I didn't. When I was in Korea, like I was like Girls' Generation, Twice, 21. Well, Twice was later. It's in November. They're performing in Korea in November at Sangsang Madang Live Hall. Yeah, I think festivals are a good opportunity for foreign bands, like wherever you go. So that's really great to see. Um, so yeah, they will it will be performing in November. But I don't know any Korean bands besides like Rolling Quartz or DIH. Like those are sort of the two bands. Cardi. Um, yes, the very sad news with Dull Parts. I don't know the details. I know it was out of Kotaro's um, decision. You know, it was his choice to leave, and you know, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Um, I'm a strong believer of that. If you feel like it's your time, then it's your time. Um, but it's sad, and I can only imagine Arisa being as savvy as she is, being saddened by it, but also like, okay, now what do I need to do to get us through all of this and to get back? Because she's a tough cookie. Like yeah, she's one of the toughest ones. From my experience of interacting with her and talking with her, she's tough and she's ambitious. Um, yeah, so that is Korea, which is really cool. Risky Melody, it's kind of cool because they're really enjoying it too. Um, more than the other bands that performed there, just kind of went. On Twitter, there are a lot of shots of them dressing up like in the Korean hanbok, you know, the traditional dress, eating sundubu. But if you're in Korea, sundubu, because you can eat it here anytime. That's one of the like staple Korean foods in Japan. Um, yeah, I wish they would try different things like 설렁탕 or 닭갈비 or just the kalbi, the barbecue there, because it's different from the yakiniku here in Japan. So that's unfortunate, but again, really happy to see them there. Really glad that it seems they had a great experience, great reception. And yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. Yeah. Oh, Arisa also is originally from Fukuoka, which is also the hometown of Asterism and then Brideer. So some of the best bands come out of Fukuoka. Some of the coolest people. I know with Haru and with Kimi. I don't know about the other girls. I don't think Moe, Ayumi, or Natsumi are. Yeah, I don't think they're from Fukuoka, but still. Okay, so that is that, and you know, happy news for Risky Melody. And I don't want to go too long into this because I don't have the minutia and the details. I do know things, things that relate to me, and I can share this now only because SJ did yesterday with Dichotic, with Alan, and with Champ. Um, but and I know some of you unfortunately bought tickets, plane tickets, had lodging, concert tickets. Those are okay because they will be refunded. But the One Sky event that was planned for October 12th and 13th are canceled. So all three bands, Nemophila, Risky Melody, and Alika, will not be performing this year. So it's very unfortunate, particularly for the bands that never had a chance to actually perform in the States. You know, I have been speaking with Alice and with Asumi. It's a few months back. I stopped by Oz, the cafe, just to chat with them because I was on my way home, and Asumi had tweeted that she was working that night. So, it was cool because we were talking about it. I was teaching them some English. I was teaching Alice phrases like, the line starts here, or this is the end of the line. Things like that. The merch table is open. Um, Alaga, I've seen once. I spoke to Kai a bit. Um, and that was before anything was really announced with One Sky. So I didn't get to talk to her about that. But, any band in Japan or any other country really would be looking forward to see uh, America and to perform there. And it is really unfortunate that things had to go down the way that they did. I know that Michael Barber, he and I, even before One Sky was formed, and we were tighter before, and we hung out before, after shows, and and I told him, like, my dream would be to have these Japanese bands go over to the States, and he definitely shared that dream. Um, And so, for me, those kind of things can only remain a dream because I am not very financially well endowed. Um, and thankfully, there are people that are. And Mike, being as gifted and generous as he is with those things, and as passionate as he is about Japanese music, definitely had that dream and still does. And for those all involved with One Sky. So it is unfortunate. Um, Without going into too much detail, um, everything was set, it was planned, and then there were little things that were kind of thrown in last minute that felt like a slap to One Sky. There were things that were requested that came off. Hmm, it just didn't seem the most appropriate things to ask for or to do, especially last minute and especially with the price tag on it. And so, yeah, eventually at the end, the decision was made to just cancel all the shows. Um, it's not like those things couldn't have been done, but um, yeah, I'm not good at this because there are things that I do want to share, but at the same time, I don't want this to become um, worse or bigger. Um, but I'm sure every party involved, the bands, the fans, One Sky, everyone is very, very sad that these shows had to be canceled. And the only thing that I will say is that I am very much on One Sky's side. I support them all the way and the vision that they have, their mission statement. It is exactly aligned with what I want for the bands here in Japan. Um, it is very much to showcase these smaller indie bands that don't have the opportunity to have that chance to go and connect with fans over in the States. And especially with fans, I mean, especially with bands that are smaller, that just financially are absolutely incapable, that are actually incapable of doing this on their own. Um, yeah, it's just something that I very much believe in, not just for the States. I mean, anywhere, whether it be Europe. And that was another thought that I had, because the band that I absolutely want to take with me wherever I go is Hades. Um, and it was kind of unfortunate because things just didn't work out. Um, and in their own way, Hades is stubborn, and they have their own sort of path and their own sort of values on things. But whether it was to the States or it was to maybe England, hooking up with old Mr. B, or it was Korea, I threw all of that out to Hades and decided that this year just wouldn't work. Someday though, I am gonna get them. Um, and whether it's me or it's One Sky, I'll be happy if Hades can make it out there. to wherever they go outside of Japan, because I think they'll kill it. People will love them just the way that I do. Not only them, but all these other bands too, you know. So yeah, it's definitely not just a pipe dream. It's definitely not something that's just sort of something that's going to just be blown over and pass by. This is something that people will hold on to. And as I mentioned before, there are other people like J Rock News. You know, J Rock News was very much a publication that believed in relaying information and sharing, I think, the wealth of Japanese music to those outside of Japan. And to put together a show like this was great to have it sponsored by them. And then you have others, you know, just individuals coming together who want to put things together. And so this guy Hendrix and this guy John, the two of them, I've seen them quite a bit at shows, a lot of them at Dimrays, but other places as well. Um, but they put together a group called Amp Stage. So if you go to Twitter, you know, you can go ahead and join or follow them. It's Amp and Stage put together. But putting together a show with Mellows, with 80 Second Life, Sentence, Strade, and then who was the other one? I can't remember at the moment. They also have a sort of guitar session going on with, who is it? Mitsuru, formerly Brideer, now Madeska. Eita, who was with Undying Words now. You have Yui, who was with Cynthia. And then you also have Gina of Frail and Bad Bubble, which, by the way, tomorrow is her birthday celebration at Lifehouse Crescendo. So that's really cool. It'll be Mellows, it will be The Frail, and then both bands I absolutely love, and Gina, who I absolutely adore. She's so precious, like so precious. But she'll be doing some solo stuff as well, like the first half hour or so. Unfortunately, I can't attend that, but definitely gonna wish her a happy birthday again. I hope you guys do too when it comes out. But yeah, definitely gonna be a good time. Um, you know, it's I stated this before that Japan is a great place. Tokyo is a great place to be single, to be older, maybe even retire, just having the money, having the time to just go out to these shows. And you know, like after shows are finished, you see all these like old dudes, and I know I'm old too, but just like these old dudes doing checkies. And you know, one of the things that you don't always see, but I saw quite often, you know, this past year, the year before, is that these girls get so many gifts, it's crazy. Some will definitely take photos of it and post it to show their gratitude. I know Dimris has done that. Hades is really good about doing that. You know, other people too. But I've come to the conclusion that it's really is. This is actually how I viewed. This is actually how I viewed myself with Bandmate the first 5 years. I was in a nearly exclusive, and when it comes to shows, it was exclusive. A nearly exclusive monogamous relationship with Bandmate. And so I wasn't that interested really in having a girlfriend because I felt like Bandmate was my girlfriend, if that makes sense, and not to be creepy about it. But that is, I think the situation is, it really is. And until you come here to Japan, to Tokyo, some of you may experience that. And I think some of you are experiencing it. Um, oh yeah, Nemophila, Alika, and Risky Melody have all been paid as if they performed the show themselves. Like that's all taken care of. One of the things that Michael doesn't do is skimp out. Um, but yeah, if you do come here, and I think for people like Chris, Russ, who also visited, David, you know, Ubi, you kind of get that experience. Like you feel like you're dating these bands. They're giving you so much, and it feels like love sometimes, to be honest. And you're giving them so much as fans, and you're exchanging. Well, it's really you buying. It's you buying, and it's you giving, you know, your money, it's you giving your time, it's you giving your snacks or your dolls or whatever it is. But it is this exchange of relationships. You have these conversations. You're just sort of, you're constantly in sort of this dating circuit which is why I think what I've noticed and what I've seen is that people are very content, at least from what I've seen. I could be wrong, but it seems like they're very content dating the bands, um, and they'll be happy to die that way, you know? And and I've said before, it's like if you look at a lot of these shows and right after the show, there's a photo taken of the band and like, all their fans, all the people who are in the crowd, and it's majority older men who are they look like maybe 50 and up, right? 50 upwards to who knows, even 80? I don't know. Um, but there's a lot of love in the room. There's a lot of affection and there's a lot of exchange. And it does feel like again, it's fans and bands dating and it's constantly that way. Some are more committed, more particular. Others just want to date every band out there. And hey, if you're free to do that. So, just an interesting observation in terms of like the emotional relational quality of being here in Japan with these bands. It's not just the music and not just, oh, how cute, but it's something special that I don't know if you could quite experience in the States the same way. I can't speak of elsewhere. I don't know how it is. But yeah, just kind of a cool little observation. So yeah. But yeah, I definitely am hoping that even though this past show was canceled, um, for One Sky, April, there are some bands lined up. I did hear some names. Definitely excited for those bands to go out, and I definitely hope they'll be taken in and well received. And with the bands that didn't get to go, especially for the smaller bands, Risky Melody and Alika, that they'll have their chance again to go out and yeah, you know, it's just it's a special opportunity. Even if they don't break out, it's just such an amazing memory to have, and that's just that chance to connect. And I think if people do experience these bands live and in person, it changes you. There are bands that can change your life just from one exposure of seeing them live. Um, it's crazy what it can do. And for a fact, I know that when I saw Bandmate for the first time, September 22nd, Hiroshima, Club Quattro, 10th floor of Parco department store, everything changed. It was like their music videos are not enough. Their albums are not enough. I have to see them. And yeah, that's how it is for a lot of these bands. So anyhow, um, yeah, they do. They again, it's dating, and it's nicer in some ways because there's a healthy distance, and so you don't like overdo it. Well, some people do. Um, but I think the distance helps to keep it like equalized. It can't, you don't kind of go too crazy. Some fans do. I don't know if there'll be performances outside of LA or New York just because, well, no, I can't say that. Who knows? Maybe Houston, um, maybe Chicago. Uh, who knows? Yeah, but let's definitely hope that more bands eventually do have easier access to performing in the States. Because the way it is right now, they absolutely do not. They absolutely do not. One Sky did hire lawyers. Everything was done by professionals. I'll say, okay, I'll say this. One Sky did nothing wrong, and they didn't miss any steps. Um, it was what was thrown at them, particularly last minute. Um, yeah, I'm just leaving it at that. So, with that said, any particular questions? Mike, you mentioned about Mellows. Yeah, on their digest for their second one man, which I did get to attend before my surgery at the end of June. Um, Yeah, the video, they did announce that they will have their second album out next June. So very excited about that. Um, right? Life-changing stuff. Life-changing stuff. Um, I was stuck on Misa from the first time I heard her bass lines in Real Existence, YOLO, Choose Me, and then seeing her perform, I was like, I will follow you to the gates of hell. Um, yeah. At one point, it's funny. I'm sure I do have the photos somewhere, but at one point, I remember I went to the local market nearby my place, and you could print out photos. So I printed out a whole bunch. It was like 3x5s. I don't know exactly what size they were. All these photos of Misa, and I just kind of like put them on my wall. This wall of Misa, and then I think one of Miku, because it was a really cool shot. Um, yeah, those are good times. Those are good times. I have evolved, as have the ladies. Oh, for those who have not yet, you definitely should pre-order your bandmade EPs. They did show, they threw out photos of the merch, the benefits, depending upon which vendor you get your CD from. I'm getting mine from Amazon. They have a mega jacket. It's called, how do you pronounce it? Mega jacket, mega jacket, which is their artist photo. And it'll be about this size. So one for me and then one for Arisa. There's a keychain. There is a badge, not what do you call it? A pin. There's a clear file. What is this? A postcard. Postcard. There's a little bag. That one's pretty cool too. And then Rakuten is pretty good. They have a cool little box, as well as a little like case, clear case, with the cover of Scoop. I wonder if every time they talk about the EP, if they'll actually go, oh yes, we've just released our new EP, Scoop, Po, our new EP, Scoop, Po. 5 O's. Like how many seconds is that deserving of? You can't just say scoop. It has to be at least like scoop. I feel like it's more like scoop. Anyhow. Yeah. Tsushima Mire. I have heard of them. I have not listened to their music. Sushi, put that in the comment section so then I can remember. My memory is very terrible, but if you put that in the comment section, then I may. I'll have a scoop. I just say scoop. I don't know who says scoop. I'll have a scoop, and I feel like it has to be like a rising tone. Scoop. Okay, let's see. What have I missed? Let me just run through things very quickly. Oh, Surge K will be releasing a mini album, which is pretty cool. So I mentioned previously, Surge K is the band that Mayo and Yuri play with as well. The founder and the lead singer, rhythm guitarist of the band, they call him Captain. But he does Sound Rockets TV. He does interviews and talks about guitars. He's been around, I think, for a long time. But 5 songs: Spirit Free, Noisy Days, Dead Weight, Bash Bash, No Chains. And then exclusive CDR, Don't Tell Me Why, featuring Junya Kato. I don't know who that is. But that's going to be cool. And that will be released. They're having an event for it at Crescendo, Kichijoji, November 5th. I should be able to attend that. Uh, mm, yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, so Brideer performed, um, hold on. Brideer performed, gosh, why am I blanking out? Oh, this was, I think this was their one man. Was it at their one man? Maybe not. But Moe, even though she's not playing with them at the moment because of health reasons, she took photos, and and a few of Kimmy that came out really, really good. So I'm just happy that she's going out there. She said that it was kind of strange to see her own band performing. I can only imagine. But yeah, it's cool. It's nice that she's good at photography. It's like, oh, that's cool. Since, I do photos too. Really appreciated that. Um, yeah, okay. I think that is about it. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to. Um, if I went into every little thing, I think I could go on forever, so I don't want to do that. Um, but let's see here. I can completely understand being focused on Yuri and Mayo. Um, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're just such fantastic people. Let's see here. Let's see here. Um, I'm curious, has the cost gone up quite a bit because of the tariffs, or how is that? Here's a couple of random little bits of news, not really news. Ray of Crimson Spider Lily, who's also half Korean, she said that she was in Korea. She spent time with family. That was kind of cool. I don't know, just because I am a Korean who's also American who lives in Japan, and I do feel connected to all three cultures and languages in some way on different levels. I like it. MNU, new metal, rap, Beastie Boys ish. Um, did it for the Nookie. Why can't I? No, not. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember? I'm blanking out. Fred Durst. Why can't I remember the name of the band? Holy crap! Somebody drop it because my mind just blanked out. They're doing a special performance. Limp Biscuit. Holy hell! How did I miss that? Oh, it's so funny. The only band name that kept on coming out was Slipknot. I was like, that's not right. Shibuya Club Crawl. MNU is doing a special show. They're hosting it. Um, yeah, that's cool. They're kind of, I will say I give kudos to MNU's management, promoters, social media, whoever they are. It's insane. They have like 54,000 followers on Instagram. They constantly put out stories on YouTube, and they have a growing fan base, even though they are not one of the bigger bands here in the Tokyo scene. Like it's getting bigger. Yeah, the Rolling Cover came out as well, um, from Limp Bizkit, not Slipknot. So yeah, I'm impressed. Like they are having it done right at the moment. Hopefully it stays that way, but they are a group that is having it done well. So I appreciate that. As somebody who wants to promote these bands, they're doing it really, really well. Um, let's see. Yeah, I can't show you these photos. At some point, I'll definitely stop using my cell phone, and then um, I'll go through my laptop, my desktop, so that I can share stuff with you, like the other guys do. But it's cool. Like I loved seeing a photo of Juna from Hagane and the Mizuki from Lonesome Blue together. That was nice. And then Nana from Gangire and the Dim Rays girls, seeing them together is always such a happy little time. yeah. Um, Again, good stuff, great stuff, sad stuff. There's a ton of things. Yeah. Ah, life, man. I don't know, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are being safe. And yeah, I hope all of us are just adding some goodness and light and love to this world, because a lot of it is really being stripped very quickly, very fast. And if we let it, then it just happens. So I hope we stay strong. Um, Keep fighting the good fight, keep doing the good work, and keep living that big old life. Okay, yeah. That is done. I went scrolling through some stuff, and there's nothing too significant. So yeah, Saki has shows announced for next year. I don't think I can attend any of them because the only ones that are here in Tokyo are weekdays. Why'd you do that, Saki? Um, this coming Friday or Saturday is Hades One Man. Really want to go to. There's also the Metamorphose show, which I mentioned, with tons of bands, which I may attend a little bit of it. Ryder's performing. It's right, not right down the street, but it's a few minutes away. Um, yeah, so there's always stuff going on. Okay, I think we'll stop it here. Since no one's really throwing out any questions, thank you guys so much for joining me this Monday morning for you guys. Uh, E plus, wonderful E plus. A lot of performers, bands are using that, right? Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys. If you have questions, please drop it in the comments. I will try to get back to you. I'm not the best at it. Um, yeah, but I'll try. I will try. Thank you guys. Enjoy yourselves. I will see you again. And hopefully I will be on my feet soon enough. I did. Um, this is kind of like something to spur me on. I bought some new Converse. So these will be shows that I'll be wearing at some point when I'm good and ready to go. Nice little zipper, right? So all right, guys, thank you so much for the support. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, share this video, and I will see you all. Yeah, I will see you guys all again soon. Okay, thanks so much. I'll see you guys. Bye.